Oh, hey, do you want to perform a handstand press like this? Hola! If you give me the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna show you how to build the flexibility and the strength you need to perform a handstand press with the best exercises for your hips, trunk, shoulders, flexibility and strength. Let's do this.
The flexibility guy, Coach Elia.
First, you do want to work on your flexibility. I mean, who doesn't? And to work on your flexibility, I'm talking about a flexibility position called the pancake stretch. Now, there are a lot of exercises you can do for your pancake stretch, but the one I'm going to show you is one of the best, all right? You just need some yoga blocks under your hips, some yoga blocks under your chest to start with, all right? To start with, a little weight here. Now, what you do want to do is this. You straighten your legs by your sides like this, and you open them up, all right? Not too much, all right? Slightly more than a 90-degree angle. Now, you turn your feet up, you straighten your knees, you straighten your butt, and you sit down on your hip bones, so not on your glutes, all right? Can you see? Boom! if you curve your back, you're gonna fall behind you, all right? So what you do want to do instead is this. You do want to sit down on your hip bones like this and stay over here. Now, from this position here, you do want to use the weight. Put the weight behind your head like this. Keeping your back straight, your legs straight, feet pointing up. You do want to drive your body as down as possible, touch the supports, come back up. If you feel that this range is too much for you, for example, just do this. Keep the supports a little higher. All right? Like that. As you get better and better, of course, you're gonna move the supports down until you're gonna have the supports at the same height of the supports you got under your hips, like this. Make sense? Now, when you can do it, what you do want to do next is this. You do want to lower down the support you got under your hips. Now, I started with this height, which is approximately 15 to 20 centimeters. But you may start from a higher surface, like, I don't know, a box or whatever, all right? Just make sure that that height is at max at your knee height, all right? Not above that. Now, when you are here, again, you start with some high blocks under your chest. This is the kind of the progression you do want to maintain, all right? So you start high with your chest, you cover the range of motion. As soon as you can cover, you lower down the support until you can get at the same height of your hips with your chest. Can you do it again? Perfectly fine. Remove the supports under your glutes and put the supports, of course, under your chest again. This is gonna be a long road, of course. You can also play with different heights. For example, to my students, I always recommend doing like some sets on the blocks, like one or two sets, some sets on the floor. Again, 1 or 2 sets. So you can play with different heights. At this point, depending on your flexibility level, you're gonna use a block like this, all right? Behind your head. Come back up. As soon as you can cover this range of motion easily. Again, okay. Can you touch the floor? This is the final progression. Like this. You want to perform between 6 and 10 repetitions of these, all right? So from 6 to 10 reps, nice and controlled. So I go down, come back up, all right? So you want to keep a slow negative part with the eccentric motion. When I move my body down, I want to pause at the bottom of each rep for a couple of seconds, and then I want to come back up with control. And this is the first exercise you do want to do for your flexibility development, which is a huge component of a press to handstand. All right, second exercise you do want to use for your active flexibility. Now, passive flexibility is when you let the force of gravity do its job. So for example, here, I'm just going into the stretch. I'm not using any muscles to pull me into the stretch. But in an active flexibility position like this, all right, you do want to use your muscles to create a flexibility position. And this is really hard on your muscles. Now we're going to use the same principle we've used for the previous exercise, all right, for exercise number 1, for the pancake stretch. Now here we do want to actively move our legs into the correct position and to strengthen these muscles here, these boys here, the quads and the iliopsoas and also the abs, because in a press to handstand you use a lot these muscles here. So what you do want to do is this, again, blocks under your hips, so blocks in front of you this time. Now you do want to straighten your legs, don't spread them too far. Start with the blocks under your hands. And now, the more you lean forward, the harder the exercise gets, all right? So start with your body upright. Keep your legs straight. And now from here, first progression, just lift one leg at a time, all right? Like this. Try not to move your hips at all. Second progression, as soon as you can do it, try to move both legs together. Squeeze your knees, straighten your legs, lift it up, move it down. Lift it up, move it down, all right? As soon as you're okay with a certain height under your hips, again, same progression as before. Move the block down and repeat. So again, one leg per time. As soon as you can do it, both legs. Now, this is the main progression until you can get with your hips on the floor. Now the exercise gets a little more intense because you can't lower down your hips. You are on the floor now. So what you should do is this. At first, you want to move one leg per time. As you get more comfortable here, you want to move both. But then, as this exercise here gets a little more comfortable, and this means that you can perform 6 to 10 reps like these, all right? Without moving your trunk. This means that as soon as you lift your feet off the floor, you don't move your trunk. Then you do want to lean forward. So for example, first you do want to use the blocks like these, all right? But then as you get better, you do want to move forward. So you do want to lean forward with your body, with your trunk, and repeat the same principle, all right? Now you want to perform 6 to 10 reps. At each rep, you do want to pause on top for a couple seconds, like this. And as soon as you move your legs, try not to move your torso, all right? So you lean forward. As you can see, as I lift, I try not to do this. If you do this, just start with your body a little backwards, all right? So not forward, backwards. Find your sweet spot. Wherever you can perform 6 to 10 reps is good for me, all right? And this is the second exercise you do want to do. And this helps you with the active flexibility. Because in a press, you're going to move your hips exactly like this. Exactly like this, all right? Like this. This is the exact movement your hips and your trunk have to do, all right? And here, we're deeply working on that. Some gymnasts also use this exercise here. Rather than going with their legs just up and down, they move their legs in circles because this exactly mimics the press to handstand movement. So they do something like this. And this is an advanced variation you can also experiment with. Keep your legs straight and expect some cramps here. It's so hot. Ooh. The handstand press is a lot about your lower body flexibility. That's the first thing you do want to think about to make it clean and correct. But then the most important thing, I would say, is not your lower body flexibility, but is your shoulders strength and control, all right? Now we're gonna talk about the strength, and the exercise I want to show you is excellent to build that strength you need in order to perform a beautiful press to handstand. You just need some yoga blocks, all right? Feet to the supports. What I do want to do is this. Hands on the floor, all right? I shrug my shoulders up. I keep my elbows straight. Now, look, I round my spine. Can you say I'm not moving like this? I'm not extending. I'm rounding. So chest in, abs in, round the spine, move the shoulders forward. Can you see? Now I get light on the blocks and then I whoop, move my feet down. and then I strongly press, jump again on top of the blocks. So, hop, jump down, control, hop, jump up, control. First progression. Pretty easy, right? You gotta jump. But what if I asked you not to jump? I know, this is far harder. So, next step is this. You want to go into the exact same position, but this time you don't want to jump. So, slow and controlled on the way down. Press, slow and controlled on the way up. Slow and controlled on the way down. Slow and controlled on the way up. Ooh, that's spicer, that's spicer. One last step, guys. If you are comfortable doing this, you can also pause it for a little. For example, I go, one, come down, 1 second, can you see? And round, one, nice, and one, and one. Woo. That's also spicy. The concept here is the more you control the movements, the harder it gets. But you got a lot of variations you can play with. You want to start with the jumping variation, which is the easiest one. Everyone can do this, all right? Everyone can do this. If you start with the jump variation, you can do it. Then, as you get better and better, your shoulders get stronger, your thoracic spine, your trunk gets stronger, then you do want to move with more and more control until you can perform variation number 2, slow and control. Variation number 3, you do want to make little pauses throughout the movements. All right, so this is the exercise you do want to use for your shoulders, trunk, abs, legs, strength. All right, now one last thing about the press, and then the press to handstand, I'm sure will be yours. All right, guys, so one last thing. I want to tell you a story, because the press to handstand is a movement where you gotta have the strength, you gotta have the flexibility, and we've been exploring all the exercises you can do to get there. But when I was trying to learn my press to handstand, I was pretty flexible, I was strong enough, but I wasn't able to perform a press. I was able to lift, and then I was falling down. This because you do need balance. All right, the press to handstand. So you gotta have a press, but you gotta also have a handstand, all right? And this means that your balance, your handstand, has to be fucking solid. Solid. And with solid, I mean, can you perform a straddle to full handstand with control? Maybe for 5 to 10 reps? If the answer is yes, then the press to handstand is gonna be really easy once you got the flexibility and strength to do it. But if you can't do that yet, then you also want to focus on the balance components of the press. Best exercise you want to do is this. You want to start with your hands on the floor, and you do want to mount up with the straddle up. This means pushing with your legs, going into a straddle, closing into the full, and performing this kind of straddle to full movement for reps. So hands on the floor. When you want to perform the straddle up movement, you do want to kind of think about a press, all right? So hands on the floor, and I want to drive my legs out, all right? But jumping like this. Then I want to join my legs together into a full, and then I want to perform these. 1, all right, 2, 3. If I get 5, this is excellent. 4, 5. If I can get to 10, all right, this is even better. 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, if you can get to 10, This is going to be even better because you got the control. Your shoulders and your balance are fucking legit to perform a press to handstand, all right? So this is the final point. You do want to work on your balance, more specifically on your straddle to full handstand. Alright guys, these are the best exercises you can use to work on your handstand press, starting from your passive flexibility, your active flexibility, your shoulders and trunk strength, and also on your balance. If you got any questions about these exercises here, you can leave a comment down below and I'm gonna be more than happy to have a chat with you. Now, if you want to get your handstand press, you need guidance, I got a complete video course you can follow with all the exercises you need for your balance, for your strength, for your mobility, for everything. Everything is covered. It's the best video course on the web to learn your handstand press from scratch, all right? You can find these exercises here and many others to increase your level and master your handstand press, and you can check it out following the link in the description down below. With that said, that's all for this video. Enjoy your handstand and your handstand press. See you in the next one. Bye. Hey, if you want to learn your freestanding handstand with the correct technique, you should check out this book, Balance Your Handstand, with all the exercises you need to get there. Check it out on Amazon right now.